Meet the Robshaws. Brandon, Rochelle, Miranda, Ros and Fred. They've been back in time before and experienced the transformation in our diets from the 1950s to the 1990s.
That is just amazing. Look at them.
Now they're travelling further back in time, to the first half of the 20th century, to discover how changes in the food we ate...
Oh, my good God. Is it brains?
...the way it was served, and how it was cooked...
Yes, I'm cooking the pudding in the soup. Why?
...helped change the course of history. Starting in the 1900s...
Oh, my goodness.
they'll fast forward through a new year each day.
1929.
What is that? It looks like a giant hand grenade.
From strict etiquette...
I might practice my bowing.
...to new fads and flavours.
Oh.
It's not that bad, Dad!
From far too much...
I think I've got the meat sweats.
...to not enough.
Doesn't look like a fried egg.
No! Can we eat that?
No.
As they discover how a revolution in our eating habits helped create the modern family. The Robshaw family is about to go back to the turn of the 20th century. Their time machine will be this ordinary house in Tooting, South London. It was built in the late 19th century, when a rapidly growing economy was creating thousands of clerical jobs, and new suburbs were springing up across the country to house the families of this new middle class. But before the Robshaws can move in, the house has to be returned to what it looked like in 1900. I'll be working with social historian Polly Russell to guide the family through their time-travelling adventure. In the first 50 years of the 20th century, middle-class family life was transformed from a world dominated by strict rules of etiquette where children were seen and not heard to a more relaxed existence of the kind we enjoy today. And I think food was fundamental to those changes. So by sending the Robshaws back to 1900 and then fast-forwarding them through 5 decades and 2 world wars, I hope we'll discover how the food we ate and the way we ate it helped shape the modern British family. You see, I love this kitchen.
It is sort of appealing to the modern eye, but this is a place where hard labour is going to take place, with quite rudimentary equipment and no electricity. The person that's going to be working in here has got to be really quite skilled and quite knowledgeable. They're going to have to work very hard to produce the sort of meals that will be expected on an aspirational middle-class table.
They haven't got a fridge.
They don't, but they do have a larder for making sure food is kept safely.
Lots of recognisable brands, the Atura Suet and the Rowntrees, the Thai food tea.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the birth of the brand. Also, this is a period where we are importing food from around the world. We're very reliant on the rest of the world to feed this growing nation.
In 1900, Britain was importing 60% of its food, using its wealth and power to ship in produce from across the globe. Meat came from as far away as Argentina and New Zealand. It was a time when the upper classes displayed their wealth through the elaborate food they ate. Britain's emerging middle classes were keen to do the same, imitating the diet and habits of the wealthy wherever possible. To guide the Robshaws' experience, we're using historical data that track what families spent on food across the decade.
Look at this fantastic survey, which tells us what it would cost to be a lower middle-class household.
Not ashamed to talk about class in pretty bald terms, then?
No, absolutely not. Here's a person here who's earning £237 a year. That's sort of equivalent to what we think the Robshaws would be earning. The biggest part of their income is going on food at about sort of 30%.
Compared to today, tiny, isn't it? It's less than 10%.
Much less than 10%. They are spending a tremendous amount of money on meat, bread, 24 loaves a week.
I can't help noticing that the potatoes are measured in pecks, 3 pecks of potatoes. Flour, half a stone on top of 24 loaves of bread. The shape of these people can barely imagine. I really envy the Robshaws. They are going to eat and eat and eat. It's time for the family to step back to 1900.
I'm fascinated to step back in time to over 100 years ago. It's an era I don't know much about. We're going to be like tourists in a foreign land.
I'm a little bit anxious about what will be inside our new home. I'm worried I'm going to find myself, well, in the kitchen.
I'm really worried about having to, like, sit and sew and cook because that would just drive me absolutely mad.
I'm wearing a corset, and I think I'll find that difficult because I can't really move or breathe either.
This will be the first time the family see their new home.
It's proper old.
Oh, my goodness. It is totally wooden.
Wow. There's not much in the way of sort of decoration.
I thought it would be smaller, though.
Did you?
There's lots of wiry gadgets. That's a sieve. Oh, you look like the Tin Man.
I thought that.
No light, is there?
Oh, no, of course not. Actually, that would be good, because no one will see what I'm making.
We'll taste it, though, won't we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is so pretty.
We have a botanical gardens.
Oh, my God.
Wowza!
This is amazing.
This is fantastic.
Wow.
And there's so many objects.
The sheer amount of stuff. It's like being in a little museum. What do you think this is for, then?
Probably to call me, isn't it?
Spell. Rochelle, some dusting to be done.
I'm back to help the Robshaws understand the world they've stepped into.
It's Giles.
Don't look so surprised. Here we're at the end of the Victorian period, a time of all sorts of social rules about mobility and behaviour and appearances. Your manual, I think in this decade, is going to be very important. That's why it's so big. There's a lot you can do right and a lot you can do wrong. And there's one other thing which you would have not been without as a middle-class suburban family in 1900, which I'll just go and get.
I hope it's a dog.
This is Debbie. This is Debbie, and she's your maid. She's a maid of all works.
Nice to meet you.
Brandon, you're going to be OK with the idea of having a maid living in?
I think I'm going to find it a bit awkward, I think. I'm going to feel slightly embarrassed about being on a sort of higher level and being able to boss her about. I think I'm not going to really like that much.
But that is the nature of the late Victorian class system. If you haven't got someone below you, how do you know where you are?
Yes, I suppose so. Oh, it'll take some adjusting to, anyway.
I'm sure you'll all find a way to make it work extremely well. Now, Debbie, it's time to make their dinner, so hop it. It's down the hall in the kitchen. Right, you've got the manual, you know what to do. Enjoy your life further back in time.
Oh, my goodness. This is going to be hard.
It's straight to work for 19-year-old Debbie. Luckily, she's no stranger to the kitchen. In her modern life, she's just finished catering college and works as a part-time chef.
Service. I love cooking. I've been cooking since I was really little, and it's just developed from there. I'm excited because I really want to find out what it would be like for a girl like me to cook how they did back then without any modern-day technology.
I don't think that I'm going to miss being in the kitchen, but when I was introduced to Debbie, I actually felt a little bit shocked. I think it might take some time to actually get used to having somebody that you would be sort of telling, you know, what to do.
But there would have been nothing shocking about this to Rochelle's Victorian counterparts. Servants were seen as a necessity in any middle-class household, and it was standard practice to employ a maid of all works to do all their cooking and cleaning. So thousands of young girls, just like Debbie, left their own homes to come and live and work in the service of another family. To give the Robshaws their first taste of Victorian cuisine, Debbie's making a formal dinner from the 1900 day-by-day cookery book that featured recipes for breakfast, lunch and dinner for every single day of the year. Today it's mock turtle soup, ragout of grouse, devilled kidneys and marlow pudding.
Wow. Oh, no. What is all this?
This may seem like a lavish feast, but meals like this appear every single day in the book.
Ooh, what are these?
Opulent displays of food on the table were an attempt to ape the upper classes, a surefire way to proclaim your status.
These must be kidneys.
And in 1900, a typical middle-class family spent twice as much on meat as they did on their maid's salary.
So that's in pounds?
While Debbie finds her way around the kitchen,
I really don't want to ring the bell.
the Robshaws are getting used to their new lives.
I can't bring myself to ring it. I just feel uncomfortable sounding a bell to call upon someone.
She expects us to, doesn't she?
Well, I'll ask her. I'll ask her if she'd like me to ring the bell.
Don't start. So if you want them to ring the bell.
Oh, my goodness.
An hour into cooking, and Debbie's busy preparing mock turtle soup, which is made from boiled calf's head, a substitute for real turtle meat.
It's a bit gross. I've never had to, like, prep a head before.
Turtle meat was a popular Victorian delicacy, but had been overeaten almost to the point of extinction.
Hi, Debbie. Just wondered how things were coming along.
This is mock turtle soup using calf's head.
Calf's head. I'm a bit shocked to see it like that. So sort of like heady in its head-like way. Do you think it's going to be tasty, Debbie?
I'm going to try and make it tasty.
Right, yeah, you do your best.
With what I've got.
Yeah. Leave the teeth out of it, won't you?
Hello.
I've just been to see how Debbie's getting on with dinner.
Oh, yeah. What's she got for us then?
Mock turtle soup.
Oh, what is it?
Made of calf's head.
Ah,
Yeah.
is it really?
Yeah, she's having to sort of cut it up. It's quite a large head.
Poor Debbie.
Debbie may be used to cooking for customers in her professional life, but as a maid of all works, she'll have to produce 3 meals a day with antiquated equipment and do all the cleaning for the family.
I'm very hot right now and kind of uncomfortable, but I'm trying not to think about that. I just want to get on.
While Debbie gets stuck into the cooking,
Which ones do you think?
the Robshaws are trying to get to grips with the etiquette of table laying.
We need dessert forks, don't we?
Nah.
We do.
We don't.
Look at the picture.
Even cutlery had its own rules.
Also, you've got to check which way the forks are going. We've made a mistake.
What is it?
Oh,
What?
we didn't put this down, did we? You're not going to find a husband if you can't lay a table. I think it's a fairly mundane activity. It would probably be the highlight of the day. You probably sort of store up all your excitement and go mad and just splurge on your evening table laying.
I'm just waiting for the cream to boil. Oh, that's hot.
After 4 hours slogging away in the kitchen, the first course is ready. As well as calf's head meat and stock, the other major ingredient of the soup is cream.
Oh my God, that's hot.
With this one meal, each of them will consume more than 3,000 calories.
Your soup's ready.
Thank you.
But I want to eat with you.
You want to eat with us?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm afraid you can't.
In the 1900s, a 12-year-old like Fred wouldn't join his family for a formal dinner. Instead, he would be expected to eat in the kitchen.
Can I have some food now?
Yeah.
As well as eating separately, children weren't allowed to have the same food as their parents. Theirs was often pureed.
It's kind of secluded, being on my own. But if I had both my sisters in here with me, with like the cook, I think that I can imagine that being quite sort of fun. Debbie, can I have a biscuit, please?
Yeah, of course you can.
Spending so much time in the kitchen meant that some Victorian children saw more of the servant than their own parents.
It's mock turtle soup.
All right, thank you very much, Debbie. Thank you. I'll serve you.
Yeah, thank you.
While the upper classes would have had a butler, in a middle-class home with only one servant, it was perfectly acceptable for the lady of the house to serve the dinner.
It's quite nice.
It's quite nice. Couldn't eat a lot of it though.
No.
It's like
Good.
really rich.
Oh, I think it's very nice. Maybe I should ring the bell and tell her it's nice.
No.
Perhaps I'll ring the bell.
No.
I think I don't.
It's tell her it's nice.
Yes, to tell her it's nice because I want to.
Hi.
I just wanted to say it's very, very nice. It's delicious.
While you're here, could we get some pepper?
Yeah, of course.
You just spoiled that.
What?
A hard first day indeed. How people did this every day, I don't know.
Next on the menu is ragout of grouse. Hunting game was a popular aristocratic pursuit, so having game on the table was a way of the middle classes displaying their upper class tastes, even if it was just to their wives and daughters.
It's like delicious.
It actually tastes like red meat, doesn't it? If I went to a restaurant and got this, I would be recommending that restaurant to everyone I knew.
These are devilled kidneys.
Although it may not seem very appealing to modern palates, offal was incredibly popular among Victorians.
It's delicious, but that's all I want.
Meaty meat.
It's a meat-heavy meal, isn't it? I think I've got the meat sweats now.
It's not over yet.
This is Marlow pudding.
That's heavy.
It's made of suet, eggs, sugar.
Suet.
Is that beef?
Yeah.
Even the dessert has got beef suet in it. How would you feel if you had to eat a meal like this every day?
How would you feel?
I think I'd feel ill.
That's why they died so young.
There's just so much meat. Meat after meat after meat. There just seems to be an awful lot of it.
Today's been really full on. This is up there with one of the hardest days, hardest working days of my life. I can't wait to go to bed.
I'm not sure how I feel about the idea of a servant. She's our age, but she's clearly living a very, very different life to me.
A new day means a new year for the household, and Debbie's the first one up. In 1901, a maid's typical working day would start at 6 a.m. and end at 10 at night.
After yesterday, I'm quite tired, to be honest. I was kind of dreading, oh God, if it's going to be like this once, I'll never get through it.
Debbie's preparing the family breakfast, and that means more meat.
For breakfast today, there's lamb chops, which is really weird. I mean, I know a little bit of meat is good, but this is a lot.
The decade has only just begun, but 1901 was to mark a turning point in British history. After 64 years on the throne, Queen Victoria died, and thousands lined the streets for her state funeral. Like many respectable families, the Robshaws have donned full mourning dress to mark the occasion.
Well, are we ready for breakfast?
For breakfast and less formal meals, children were allowed to dine with their families.
Morning.
Good morning.
This is anchovies on toast.
Thank you.
Lamb chops.
Lamb chops for breakfast?
That is so weird.
Thank you, looks very nice.
Fred, this is your porridge.
Fred might be allowed at the dining table, but he still won't have to chew much on his food.
Let's get started then.
Debbie would have to got up like really early to prepare this for a breakfast, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Is there sugar?
Hello, Debbie. Can we have some sugar, please?
Yeah, of course you can.
Thanks. Great, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Why are you ringing it?
Need a tea strainer.
We were so unhappy about ringing that bell.
And now we're bell happy. We'll have a toast, shall we? Because the Queen is dead, long live the King.
Queen Victoria was succeeded by her eldest son, Edward, fondly known as Bertie. Unlike his strict mother, the new king was a renowned bon viveur whose extravagant lifestyle was devoted to women, wine, hunting and good food. And like many of his aristocratic friends, the food he loved most was French. So I'm sending Brandon and Rochelle to the Savoy to show them how the British love affair with French cuisine really took off.
Hello.
How are you both?
I'm very well, thank you.
You look amazing.
Wow, it's Monica off MasterChef,
It
isn't it?
is. So
Fantastic.
welcome
pleased
to
meet
the
you.
Savoy, the birthplace of haute cuisine. Are you ready for lunch? Well, not sure, actually.
We had quite a heavy breakfast, actually. We had grilled lamb chops.
For breakfast?
Yes.
Well, I don't know where you've put it all. Look, I've stuffed it all down my corset.
Monica Galetti was senior sous chef at top French restaurant Le Gavroche and learnt her trade with many of the recipes and techniques first introduced to Britain here at the Savoy.
Oh, wow, I like this dining.
This trailblazing restaurant was established by legendary French chef Auguste Escoffier and was patronised by aristocratic clientele, including King Edward himself.
Thank you.
So what we have here is a sole balevska, which is sole with truffles.
It's lovely. It's like the sort of food that angels would eat.
Everything we've eaten has been brown because it's been meat. This is just sort of like pale and sort of pretty.
Escoffier was brought here to open the restaurant here, literally to introduce this kind of dining to Britain. In that time, it was only available back in the continent. Escoffier, when he came over, literally made this experience open to everyone.
It must have been a revelation.
I just find that absolutely amazing. It took one man to introduce this to Britain, and it's just carried on.
Kind of have such a lot to thank the French for. Oh, my goodness, that looks fantastic.
What we have here is a peach melba, which is peaches of raspberries and chantilly cream.
This is very, very different from a syrup pudding. I think this haute cuisine thing will really catch on. Do you think we could get Debbie to have a go at it?
Yes, I have high hopes for her.
You've been working on that for a while, haven't you?
It's 1902, and to give the Robshaws the chance to show off their new appreciation of fashionable French cuisine, I'm asking them to host a very special event.
It's a letter.
A letter?
Dear Brandon, Rochelle, Miranda, Rosalind and Frederick, for the aspiring middle classes, this decade is all about maintaining and improving your place in society. Tonight, you'll be hosting a spectacular, wait for it, 8-course dinner party.
Oh, my goodness me.
Oh, my goodness.
What?
So make sure the evening is a roaring success. Your reputation will depend on it for years to come. That's a bit of a worry.
All we need to do is make sure that we give the guests a very entertaining evening.
But 8 courses? I can't even think of 8 courses. Hi, Debbie.
Hello.
Oh, I've got some rather exciting news.
OK.
We're having an 8-course dinner party this evening. 8 people, 8 courses.
Oh,
to round about, yeah. This meal's extremely important.
OK.
What hangs on this meal is Mr. Robshaw's reputation.
OK.
I think I'll let you get on with it.
OK, thanks.
Dinner parties were the perfect opportunity for an aspiring middle-class family to display their status and taste. Although they weren't able to match the lavishness of the upper classes, showing off was still the name of the game, and elaborate menus were all the rage.
I'm kind of feeling a little bit overwhelmed at the moment. There's a lot to do for one person.
I've taken tonight's menu from Britain's favourite cookery writer, Mrs. Beeton, who also embraced the fashion for all things French. In English, it's oysters, soup, cold salmon, cream of chicken, quail, saddle of mutton, cake, jelly and cheese. Debbie's starting with crème de volaille, a cold, savoury dish of chicken with cream sauce that needs to be cooked and cooled in time to be served chilled.
It all has to go right, really. I mean, for the family's sake as well, because they just want it to be a good meal. They don't want me to cock up.
But it matters for Debbie as well. In 1902, a disastrous dinner could have led to instant dismissal for the servant responsible. As well as 7 savoury courses, she'll also have to pull off a spectacular moulded jelly for dessert. In Debbie's modern life, making jelly is easy, but without a fridge, it's another matter entirely.
I'm kind of worried about this because I don't know if it'll actually all set in time, and then I have to actually get it out. So it's a bit stressful.
While Debbie single-handedly cooks up an 8-course meal,
OK, let's get these chairs out of the way.
it's taking 4 members of the Robshaw family to lay the table.
We need something for the oysters. An implement.
A fork faux pas could spell disaster for a family standing in the eyes of their guests.
A little fork, an oyster fork.
He's going to think we're really common if we don't have an oyster fork. That could be a finger bowl.
Yeah, but there's only one.
No, it couldn't. Why
You
not?
can't have a communal finger bowl.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
It's so ridiculous.
We might have to do without finger bowl, but then what will they say about us?
We can't let a finger bowl hold up your rise to the top.
With the guests due any minute, Debbie has been cooking solidly for 8 hours. Despite her professional training, she's finding the ostentatious menu a challenge.
I've done the aspic jelly, I've done the mayonnaise. The chicken is in poaching. I need to do green butter, green beans, boiled potatoes, the chicken sauce, roasted quail, and then gravy.
In a one-servant household, middle-class families often hired in extra help on special occasions. So tonight, I've arranged for Levitt, a butler who served the royal family, to help them make the night a success.
The oysters, are they being served with wedges of lemon?
Yeah, they will
Or
be.
half them?
I'll do halves around the edges.
And I've also arranged some rather special surprise guests, including the local mayor, just the sort of VIP a socially ambitious family might like to impress.
Thank you. Hello, good evening.
Hello. This is my wife, Rochelle, Mrs. Robshaw.
Rochelle.
These are our 2 daughters, Miranda and Rosalind. Madame Maris.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.
And you must be Mr. Ford.
I'm indeed.
Pleased to meet you.
With Fred not invited to dinner, he's making himself useful behind the scenes.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please take your places for the service of supper?
Thank you very much.
Are we ready to go then, cook?
Yep.
The first cook's going now.
Previously a poor man's food, oysters became scarce in Edwardian England and were increasingly seen as a luxury.
Now, Mr. Robshaw, do you have a regular supply of oysters delivered to you? Or?
Well, I wish that I did.
Next up is consommé, a light French vegetable soup.
I'm sure that's a turnip.
Vastly underrated vegetable.
I totally agree.
The soup might be finished, but the next course is far from ready.
I'm kind of hoping that the butler gives them a lot of wine so that they don't realise how long the wait is, and then the food will taste nicer as well.
Well, thanks.
20 minutes later,
Oh.
the whole poached salmon with prawns and homemade salmon mousse that's taken Debbie 3 hours to make is ready to serve.
It's such beautiful colours.
Do you wish to be addressed as your worship?
Mr. Mayor is good enough.
Next up is another Edwardian favourite, cold chicken in cream on a bed of salty meat jelly.
This is aspic jelly. This looks gross. Can't believe they ate this.
Every picture I've seen, you have these mounds and mounds of sort of...
Great wobbly puddings.
They must have been working very hard in the kitchen.
How the hell are they eating all of this?
Quail, sir.
The courses just keep coming and coming.
I'll have a sauce to follow.
I thought you said a horse to follow.
Wouldn't surprise me. Looks okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, mutton.
Another course.
Blimey.
Couldn't have eaten like this every night, could they?
Surely not.
Leave the jelly till the last minute.
Yeah, will do.
For dessert, Debbie's made 2 puddings.
1, 2, 3.
But it's the moment of truth for the multicoloured jelly.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness me. She must have been devastated. Her jelly didn't stay upright.
For an Edwardian servant, a mistake like this might have meant the sack. But luckily for Debbie, the modern guests are more forgiving.
I've read lots about wanting to steal somebody else's cook, and I can understand that now.
I think I'd keep Debbie in the kitchen so no one could see her and poach her.
But the mayor has other ideas and has asked to meet her himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, Debbie, come in.
Debbie, are you completely done in?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was delicious. Fit for a king.
I got to say, I just think that was a triumph. I think that was a brilliant, brilliant dinner party. And I truly believe that our social standing in the neighbourhood has gone right up into the sky.
I think any time you have strange people in your house that you have to make conversation with, obviously it's stressful. So I'm very relieved that it's over.
Bye-bye. Today was a big day. A lot of food to cook in a short period of time with hardly any equipment. I am proud though.
Morning.
It's 1903, and following the success of their dinner party, the Robshaws are starting to feel the consequences of Edwardian excess.
I feel like I'll never be hungry again after last night.
But it was about 8 dinners in a row.
To get some much-needed fresh air, they're off to the local common for a promenade. A walk in the park was not just a way to while away a Sunday afternoon, it was also the perfect opportunity for image-obsessed Edwardians to parade their immaculately dressed families for all to see.
How do people feel? Are you feeling all stodged out?
The thing is, if this is all the exercise you had, it was just like a slow little promenade to feed the ducks. Maybe this is what the Edwardians did, was chuck bread at them because they had so much food.
Well, I had so much food left over, they had to get rid of it somehow.
A couple of sort of meat chops in there.
Back home, and with Debbie hard at work cooking yet another meal,
Can you see? No.
it's the perfect time to enjoy an Edwardian parlour game.
Spin the player round.
Dress the dandy.
The player must attempt to pin various items on the dandy.
She's going for the hat. She's got the moustache on the nose.
Your moustache is on your nose.
It's under my...
I haven't got very many peas because of you, Fred.
No.
I found peas on the floor from you earlier.
Not only did the culture of excess mean lots of leftovers,
These are mutton rissoles from last night's dinner, so I hope they're okay.
Thank you.
it also increased interest in digestive health.
I'll start with 2 rissoles. I can always come back for more.
Luckily for the Robshaws, there's a new drink on the market, perfect for the morning after.
Some drinks for you.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I never.
Perrier.
In 1903, Perrier water was launched. Combining the Edwardians' love for all things French with a promise of goodness, Perrier was French mineral water ingeniously rebranded by Englishman William St John Hamsworth, who put it in distinctive green bottles and sold it to the British middle classes at a premium price.
Bottled water?
Marketed as the champagne of table waters, Perrier would become the biggest-selling bottled water in the country.
I like it.
I like it.
It feels like a sort of antidote to all this kind of heavy meat we've been eating.
And it's interesting because also the bottle shape is how I feel my figure is going.
How's it going, Fred?
It's really, really runny.
It's really, really runny.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Definitely needs more ice and sugar.
Fred may be banished from formal meals, but he's feeling increasingly at home in the kitchen.
Will you help me,
Yeah, I'm definitely going to help you.
And today he's assisting Debbie to make a birthday cake for his dad.
Swirl. Lift it up as you're doing it. Yeah.
No, I think you're a very good cook.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks, Fred.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, that's absolutely
Look
stunning.
at it.
Look
What
at
a
it.
great cake. Thank you.
Oh. I like having Fred in the kitchen, actually. And in fact, he was quite helpful.
The relationship between Debbie and me is almost like a hidden friendship.
And as far as Fred eating it out of the kitchen, I sort of kind of felt a bit sorry for him. But now I can see that if he establishes a very close relationship with Debbie, then actually it might be quite pleasant and fun for him.
It's 1904, and while the rest of the family stays at home,
I'm going to try and make a patterned handkerchief.
Brandon's heading out to work as a clerk in a city bank. In the early 1900s, middle-class white-collar workers used the newly expanding railway system to commute from the suburbs to work in the city. And a whole new wave of restaurants opened to cater to these men at lunchtime.
Yes, thank you.
So today, breadwinner Brandon is going out for lunch with his workmate Chris.
Capital.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers.
Chop houses were relaxed, male-only environments where men could enjoy good food and beer together.
Very nice flavour.
Away from the stiffness of more formal dining.
I think if you're having a working lunch, you want a nice pint of ale with it, don't you? And I think
yes. According to one survey, it was perfectly normal for a gentleman to spend as much as an eighth of his income on lunches with the boys.
Now, I think if I were to make a regular habit of this, eating out all the time with my mates, spending a huge proportion of the household budget on meat and ale, I don't think Robshaw would stand for that.
Although, I could get used to this.
I can actually see how this became a habit. How blokes went out and did this every single day. Of course they did. Yeah. It's more fun than embroidery, isn't it?
It is.
In the 1900s, it would have been unthinkable for a married middle-class woman like Rochelle to go out to work. So she and her daughters are getting to grips with more ladylike pursuits.
This is just about the worst thing. Sitting here for a whole hour and just producing this one knotty mess.
I've got to say it was a very pleasant experience for me sitting in a dining room with Chris. But I think women had the short end of the straw there. Day after day, if they're at home doing embroidery and I'm out in a dining room spending my money on steak and ale, it just doesn't seem quite fair, does it?
It's 1905.
After the success of Brandon's dinner party earlier in the week,
So what do we need to set up?
it's Rochelle's turn to see if she can further cement the family's standing by hosting a tea party for the ladies of Wandsworth. An institution at the heart of an Edwardian lady's social life, afternoon tea provided the perfect opportunity for women to network with others of the same class in their local area. So I've sent Polly round to give Rochelle and the girls a crash course in tea party protocol.
Hi, Polly. Hi, welcome. The tea you're about to host is a specifically sort of middle class and upper class activity. Because if you're working class, of course, you're working. You have to be at leisure to have afternoon tea in the way that you're about to. And you are sort of establishing yourself within your social community, because being middle class isn't so much about your income as it is about your attitudes, your behaviour, the people that you socialise with.
It wasn't like a casual thing, just like pop round to like have a little chat and a sandwich.
Casual is not really a word I think we can associate with the Edwardians very often.
Probably a lot of pressure. If you got it wrong, you might be kicked out of the sort of local ladies' tea group.
You're right. The three of you are responsible for making sure that the Robshaw family are presented in a way that would do Brandon proud.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you. You're off to another tea then.
Today, Debbie's making a selection of Edwardian favourites to go with tea. Sandwiches, scones and Battenberg cake.
I think that looks okay.
Named in honour of the marriage of Princess Victoria, the granddaughter of Queen Victoria, to Prince Louis of Battenberg in Germany.
We need this little table.
A woman hosting tea in the early 1900s would open her doors to receive guests between the hours of 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. precisely.
Oh, wait.
It's a good catch, Rosalind.
Visitors could drop by unannounced at any point within those times, but were only expected to stay for around 15 minutes.
I think I might practice my bowing.
I think you might think you're a bit
Silly if you bow.
It's time for tea, and as the Robshaws are new to the area, Polly's arranged for some local ladies to drop by.
I'm not getting it. You have to get it.
No, Debbie's getting it.
What name is it, ma'am?
It's Anna Blair.
Anna Blair.
Anna Blair. Who's that? I don't know.
Anna Blair, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Edwardians really would open their doors to strangers, so mastering the art of polite conversation was an essential skill for any aspiring middle-class lady.
Have you come far?
Tooting, actually.
Oh, nice.
Have you been here long?
For a few years. Would you like a cup of tea?
I'd love a cup of tea. I'm feeling slightly hungry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Would you like a piece of Battenberg?
That's quite a substantial Battenberg,
Isn't it?
Libby and Annie.
Hello. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
As well as genteel chit-chat, it was essential to serve your guests with etiquette and refinement.
I can't get a grip on it.
Where have you come from?
We came from Tooting.
It's very nice round here.
Was it your maid that made all the things?
Yes.
Hello.
Have you come far?
Tooting.
Oh, nice. Would you like a sandwich?
Yes, that looks nice. I'll have one of those to start with. Thank you. Has this been decorated?
Yes.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it.
It's quite chintzy, isn't it? It might be a bit overwhelming after a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did find the afternoon tea quite difficult. It was a bit like speed dating because you've got people in your house for 15 minutes and then they move on, and each time they make a judgment on you. It was a sort of benignly stressful experience.
It's a new day in South London. We're over halfway through the decade, and new technologies like the motor car, aeroplanes and electricity are hinting at a way of life previously unimaginable. Britain is moving into a new era, which is even reflected in the food products that have become available. Up until now, chocolate had been an expensive, imported luxury, out of reach of most families. The launch of Cadbury's Dairy Milk in 1906 made it much more affordable, and a nation of chocoholics was born.
I got something.
Whoa! Fantastic! Actual chocolate. Should we try some? This is so tantalising.
My mouth is watering.
What do you think of it, Brandon?
I really like it. I wonder how long we'll have to wait for fruit and nut.
Debbie's been given a rare evening off, so she's writing home to her family in Yorkshire, 200 miles away.
I miss the dogs and the family, of course. It's hard for me now, so it must have been even harder for a servant in the 1900s.
In the Edwardian era, servants had no legal right to time off or paid holiday. It was all at their employer's discretion, and many worked 7 days a week with just 1 day off a month. Luckily for the Robshaws, there's a new innovation that means they won't have to find their way around the Edwardian kitchen.
What have we got?
Ooh.
Now, what is this? Is this called
Wait
a
a minute,
chafing
don't
dish?
open it.
The chafing dish was an early precursor to the 1970s fondue set and reflected a relaxation of the formal rules around food, making it acceptable for families to cook for themselves in the dining room.
Oh, I am a festive chafing dish. I foam and froth and bubble. I sing the song of meat and fish.
That's a good song.
And are a great deal of trouble.
Save
a great deal of trouble. Oh, it's like a magic pot. So what do you do with it?
Obviously, you light it, so you put food in there and you cook it at the table. It sounds jolly good fun.
With Debbie off work, Keen cook Brandon can't resist breaking Edwardian etiquette to get into the kitchen himself for the first time in a week.
I'll bring in the rest of the stuff now. Oh.
Tonight, they'll be eating a recipe from the chafing dish and casserole cookery book, Cervelle de Veau aux œufs.
I haven't actually had a look at this meat. Oh, my good God.
That's calf's brains with eggs to you and me.
Is it brains? Good heavens. I don't know what to say. I'm losing my appetite just looking at that. Maybe it'll look better when it's cooked. Well, I didn't actually do 2 whole brains.
Brain?
Yeah.
That looks absolutely horrible.
Sort of scrambled eggs and scrambled brains. With cream and salt and pepper. It'll probably be good. Eggs go in. Brains go in.
Brains may turn the stomach of some modern diners, but they were actually very popular among Edwardians who ate every bit of the animal from head to hoof.
That doesn't look good. I want you to stop stirring it so much.
In fact, in one popular cookbook of the decade, there were no fewer than 22 different recipes featuring brains.
It just doesn't look fit for human consumption. Seems to be starting to solidify a bit. Do you think we should let it rest? So I'm now going to eat the brain. I'd say that isn't bad. Yeah, good stuff. Shall I serve you a dollop of brain? Is that OK?
Yeah, thanks.
Is that enough?
Yeah, that is more than enough, thanks.
Are you going to taste any?
I just can't do it.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's nice.
I actually don't like it, but just because it's not the sort of thing I like. I don't really like scrambled eggs anyway.
That's true. Is it the eggs that's putting you off?
I think it is, to be honest.
I am very, very pleased with myself that I managed to try some brains because I didn't think I would. You just think, oh wow, like the brain can process so much, and we're here just like eating it. Think of all the meals to cook in front of people, brain is probably not the first choice. You would choose something like some kind of steak or just anything apart from brain.
"1907, everyone."
Debbie's putting together an informal Edwardian spread, a platter of cold cuts and cheese, the perfect accompaniment to an afternoon of musical entertainment. The musical taste of the upper and middle classes had always revolved around classical and opera. But by 1907, things were changing. The popularity of music hall was seeping into middle-class life, as revealed by rocketing sales of sheet music for the popular hits of the day. But this was an indulgence families like the Robshaws would only dare enjoy in the privacy of their own home.
Gone after you.
So I've arranged for a surprise visit from 80s pop sensations Chaz and Dave.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello. Nice to meet you. Hello, I'm Brandon.
Celebrated for their unique style of Cockney rock music, or Rockney, Chaz and Dave took a lot of their inspiration from the old music hall style of songwriting. So there's nobody better equipped to lead a traditional sing-along.
What do you think of the parlour?
Well in need of a sing-song, I would say. We thought you might know this one, Daisy.
Oh, we know that.
And that was one of my great-grandfather's favourite songs. All right, OK. Daisy, Daisy, give me your arms adieu. I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a carriage, but you look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle made for you.
Good singing, girls and boys.
Love that one.
So what do you think of the music hall songs, Frederick?
Good.
Yeah, great. I've got such great rhymes.
So catchy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still, like, really enjoy singing them now because they just make you feel quite good.
I know when they tried out a new song, if the audience didn't join in on the second chorus, she'd never sing it again. Right. So it had to be a song that they could...
catch on straight away.
Hello, Debbie. Thank you.
Hello.
This is Debbie, our maid.
Hello, Debbie.
These are our guests, Chaz and Dave.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Do they look after you? Are they good to you?
Yeah, of course they do.
They don't beat you or nothing and make you work?
No.
Oh, that's good.
The tea's all here and ready.
Thank you very much, Debbie.
Should we go and get some tea then?
Lovely old job.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
While the family enjoy their first informal meal of the decade, I sent Debbie a classic working-class London treat to try.
I don't like the texture. The family are just in the parlour having a good old sing-song, and I'm here having jellied eels. Sometimes it is quite hard to be, like, alone in the kitchen all of the time. When they're doing something that does genuinely seem fun, I do feel a little bit left out.
Cheers, Brandon. Lovely.
I had a really, really good afternoon. To sit and sing or play instruments with your family, it's something that people don't tend to do anymore. But it's really weird not having Debbie as part of the whole thing. And, like, sometimes I am tempted to kind of break the rules of a ruling society and ask her to join us, but, you know, that wouldn't have been done, and we're trying to live a life of a middle-class family of the era.
Your morning paper, Mr. Robshaw.
Oh, my goodness. It's the Olympic Games.
In 1908, London hosted its first ever Olympic Games. The fourth modern Olympiad included 24 sports ranging from gymnastics and athletics to aquatics and tug-of-war. While it was largely a male-dominated occasion, women competed in more events than ever before. Great Britain cemented its status as the global #1 superpower by topping the medals table for the first and only time in history. Although that might have had something to do with all the judges being British.
Throwing the hammer, high jump, the 2-mile walk. I could do that.
Our sporting prowess was put down to a diet rich in meat. So today, Brandon and Fred are trying out the same breakfast enjoyed by competitors in the 1908 Olympic Marathon before heading out for their own training.
Here's your Olympic breakfast, Mr.
Whoa!
Robshaw.
Get out of here. What? That is just...
Is it steak?
incredible. It's a whole cow.
Olympians chomp down on enormous steaks as well as raw eggs before exercise in the belief that meat makes muscle.
Thank you.
Anything else?
And an ambulance, please.
Okay, are you ready? Actually, now I feel quite good.
Do you?
Yeah.
How far do you think you could run?
I could run a marathon now.
It's not just breakfast that features meat.
Smells of beef dripping.
Beef fat was also used by marathon runners to prevent blisters.
As typical Edwardians, they think you can solve every problem with beef, don't they?
Brandon's also going to sample the most popular sports drink of the era.
What's this? This is what they used to have.
Champagne.
Is it? Do they used to have this at the end of races?
No, just during.
Really?
Yes, to give you a little bit more energy.
That's so funny.
Kind of bucks you up a bit. What's this
Brandy.
one?
Brandy as well.
In the 1908 marathon, many runners drank cognac in the belief that it would enhance performance. Gold medal favourite Canadian Tom Longboat drank so much champagne along the route that he collapsed 19 miles into the race and failed to cross the finish line. In 1909, Britain suddenly got closer to its European neighbours when Louis Blériot became the first man to fly across the English Channel. Taking just 36 minutes and 36 seconds to complete the journey, he became world famous in an instant.
How do you make a paper aeroplane?
To celebrate our growing allegiance with France and the end of this momentous decade, the Robshaws are serving their friends an Anglo-French themed feast of sandwiches and eclairs.
Hello.
Welcome. Would everybody like to help themselves tuck in?
Polly's back to find out how the family have coped with life in the 1900s.
How are you? I'm all right, thank you. This is Dr. Polly Russell.
Oh, Dr. Polly Russell. I'd like you to try this drink, which is called strawberry shrub.
That's lovely. That is really, that's strong. Cheers. The food itself that you've eaten in this decade, is it what you imagined it would be?
The amount of meat and offal has been staggering.
I've enjoyed the food a lot, but you know, you can have too much of a good thing. I feel like I'm looking forward to a nice simple salad or something now.
Can we talk a bit about Debbie and having a servant? And particularly because, of course, she's the same age almost as your daughters, and the life expectation is so different, isn't it?
Yeah. I found that an extremely complicated relationship to negotiate because I feel quite motherly towards her, and I want to sort of like look after her, and I want to make sure she's safe, and I want to make sure she's not working too hard. But at the same time, I know that her role is distinct.
Do you think you're going to be seeing Debbie in the next decade?
I'm hoping very much we'll see Debbie in the next decade.
Fred, how has it been being an Edwardian boy in a middle-class home?
Being away from my family and with sort of Debbie became sort of quite nice and freeing. So obviously there were certain rules and I did miss out on a lot of stuff. But over time, me and Debbie became like almost friends.
Hi, Debbie.
Hello.
What are you making there?
Ice cream.
Is your arm making?
Yeah.
How hard has the sort of physical work of cooking in this kitchen been?
It's been really hard and you'd get really, really tired. And day in, day out, for months on end, it would get very lonely. It's why I'm happy when Fred comes in, even though he can be annoying. But even though I've got to know the family, you're still not part of their family and you still don't do what they do, so it is hard.
It has been a pleasurable experience living as an Edwardian. Having fantastic lavish feasts every day and wearing like really posh clothes. What's not to like?
I haven't reviewed my opinion on the class system because I still don't particularly like it, but I do understand it a lot better, and I understand now why back in the 1900s people were really proud to be middle class.
I think it's been a challenge to be lady of an Edwardian house because you're not in the kitchen, you're not outside the house, but you are in the parlour. And all you can do in the parlour is entertain. It's a curious experience.
I don't think I could live like this forever, but to taste this sample of this life of luxury has been really, really fun.
Next time, the Robshaws experience the feast.
That's amazing.
And famine
You probably need a hacksaw.
of the turbulent 1910s.
It feels like the war's really hitting home now. It feels like it's starting to bite.